Games are strange things, not a game concept. We don't need an anthropological discussion of what it means to play. Playing people is natural, blah, 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 ready to fight or something, cross-cultural yada yada yada. We all understand that. We are all here to play games. Great. The problem is that the game itself is very difficult. Whether you're talking about video games, board games, or tabletop games, learning how to play is hard. We simply forget because many of us spend our lives absorbing mechanical syntax and unspoken rules. The concept of stages in a board game is as natural to us as WSAD is to movement. When I talk to people who don't play games, again, I mean digital games and physical games, it's usually because they feel overwhelmed. Often someone tries to teach them but gets impatient or makes it look easy without doing anything to show why it is easy. And honestly, how is an adult who hasn't picked up a controller in 30 years supposed to understand what a dual stick looks like and how it works? What exactly does workplace mean? We often tell people about our favorite games because we think they are the most attractive. Mansions of Madness looks simple enough and it's brilliant. Why not start with that? Between Us is so simple that even an idiot can play it. You just have to find out who the sus is. What is so difficult about it? Here's how you move and do this and push a button, but don't click here if you don't find something there to push. This is how we sound like we want to introduce someone to the game. The eyes were shining. I don't think it's for me. We felt silly showing something that might be in a foreign language, and they felt silly because we made it sound like unacceptable if you'd only try it. Foreign language is key here, because most of the time knowing how to use your hands while playing is your language. Not just the name of the button, but how it actually moves your hand. Why certain things work in certain ways. Decades of game mechanics. This mechanic changes dramatically from game to game in almost identical thousands of ways. It's like juggling without seeing the ball. Over time, we have figured it out or at least know how to watch YouTube videos. Not everyone has it. Not everyone cares to understand how movement works in first-person shooters and platformers. In fact, we often teach them this in the most confusing ways possible, but it doesn't help. It just makes us sound weird, man, and dissatisfied. Jump, not here. No, jump on the ledge. No, if you press and hold jump, he'll climb up by himself. No, jump. It sounds like bullshit. Don't tell someone about a game you like just because you like it. Someone who has never played the game or rarely played the game will not pick up Elden Ring overnight. Damn, they sure love watching you play. They can be great companions, but if you give someone a quick look at how to play and say, "That's easy," the chances of them actually finding it easy are next to zero. I also don't want to see your tweets and your anecdotal counterexamples because that's my opinion and I don't care. If you want to introduce someone to the game, start with their level and interests. Instead of starting with Gloomhaven, start with a smaller game with fewer moving parts. Instead of diving headfirst into Apex Legends, guide them through a game where movement and action don't require lightning-fast reflexes. Don't just explain the controls, teach them. And for God's sake, don't be discouraged. I've had many friends and older relatives give up trying to learn the game because someone explained the rules once, then acted like it was a personal insult when they didn't understand how to move the mechanic on the hex grid. This is unintentional gatekeeping. We don't want these people to be cold, but in our desire to play and get new people to play with, we forget how complex all these blocking systems are. What is a health bar? What are action points? That being said, they don't get any clearer. For the love of God, teach people a game they actually want to play. Many people do not want to be warriors fighting the eternal war in space. Some people want sand black. Some people are fans of IPs like Back to the Future. Find them, search for areas of interest. A game with a good story can do more than just an idealized angry boy barking game. Actually, here's my advice to you. Find a topic they like in a format that's easy enough to understand. There's a reason why Stardew Valley is such a great entry-level game. Its setting is easy to understand, the environment is friendly, and it gets more complex as time goes on. You could argue that this is a very deep game, but it still doesn't make you feel like an ass if you can't just run out and shoot, or ever, because you know, it's Stardew Valley. Instead of playing a complicated RPG, start with a stat-tracking visual novel like Citizen Sleepwalker. Introduce concepts over time. Give them an easy board game like Munchkin to create a game that is very difficult like something other than Munchkin. Don't assume someone understands a concept just because you or I find it easy. Don't assume that just because someone refuses to understand the difference between a high stroke and a low stroke that they are having a bad day. But for God's sake, remember that people want to enjoy games. If you try to learn the game and the person gets confused, it's not their fault. Don't be disappointed in them and don't think they aren't cut out for it. What it's like to think about learning the game from their perspective and making the game from that. Just because it's easy for you doesn't mean it's easy for everyone else. Even the most basic gameplay concepts like inventory can be confusing when just thrown out without context. That said, it has something to do with introducing someone to the game. It has nothing to do with you. This means helping them have fun, not just giving you someone to hang out with. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and support my channel.